Hello everyone, Argsy here. Today we're taking a look at a recently released map, Farming Simulator 22. Now this is called the Missouri River Bottom. It is a 4x map and therefore is PC only. It has been created by River Bottom Custom Farming and released on their itch.io page, for which I will have a link down in the description. But I wanted to just give you a little bit of a rundown of this map and read out to you what River Bottom Custom has written on their itch page, because it describes the map really well. Now, it is set in the northwest corner of Missouri, very near to the Nebraska border, along the edge of the Missouri River. So you can see it there on Google Earth exactly where it is. So it is based on a real life area, and I'll get into that in just a second. But this is what River Bottom Custom has written on their itch.io page about the map. The modern Missouri River has been substantially changed from the river that Lewis and Clark travelled 200 years ago. As early as 1819, the United States government initiated programs to determine methods for managing the river, in terms of both navigation and flood control. Those programs led to the creation of incredibly fertile soil that can produce incredibly rich yields. That being said, this map is a recreation of where I grew up as a child, and where my family continues to farm. I've always wanted to design a map that took me back to my roots. Now you have the chance to start where my ancestors started. You have one field and a pretty nice farmyard to get you started, along with a stable full of farm equipment to get the job done. I hope you enjoy farming in the footsteps of my childhood. So I've always said maps that elicit a personal response or a personal reason for the map always bring out the best in maps, and for a first time map I think River Bottom Custom Farming has done a very good job. Actually reminds me a little bit of Chilliwack by Chumpy Farmer, where we have spent a lot of time in that kind of, first go at creating a map in Farming Simulator. It has that sort of same feel to it, but as you see as we go around, it is an incredibly flat area, being in the river plains, and there's not a lot of topography. So what we're going to do, we'll do what we normally do, jump into the PDA, have a look at the fields, have a look at the lay of the land, and then we are going to use a little bit of flight mode and fly around, because we'll navigate more. I think there's more to see from being elevated a little bit than there is being down at ground, just purely because there's not much contour to this. It is a very flat map. So without further ado, let's go and take a look at the PDA. So a word of warning for you as well. Not that I'm having any issues with performance or anything like that I've noticed as I've been looking around, but the map file is rather large. It's about 1.2 gig to download the map itself, and then there is also a second folder to download which has about 2 gig of mods, placeable mods that a lot of this is being created with. So it is quite a big download. It is quite hard drive space intensive, and that's without adding any of your own mods that you might want to use on your farm. So just bear that in mind when you are grabbing it. But like I said, I haven't noticed anything significant which affects frame rates or performance on the map. So other than being a bit larger than you might expect normally, it all seems to be running reasonably smoothly. So take that as a little bit of a warning, and just so that you are prepared to use up a little bit of bandwidth when you are downloading. So taking a look here at the PDA. Now, main feature here down the left hand side, or the western side of the map, is the Missouri River. Now basically from the river, this section here on the left is undeveloped. There's no access to it, so unless you're going to try and figure out a way to build a bridge, there's area over here that's not used as part of the map. Basically, the stop bank here along the side of the map, the flood protection from the river, is the border, and everything is to the west of that. We've got Phelps City up here in the top, and this is where a lot of the sell points and things like that are. We have a train track which comes all the way down to the bottom down here, and a few more main sell points and things like that. The train can be used as a sell point and will deliver to Kansas City. The main farmyard that you start out with here is in the middle, and field 51 is what you start out with as well. You also by default own all of the surrounding land and roads and things like that. Scattered around, there's a number of other small farmyards, some with just a shed, some with just some silos, and you'll also notice a number of farmhouses. We've got one down the bottom here, farmhouse somewhere in here, another one up there, right up the top there as well. So there's a number of different farmhouses and areas that you could set up as a farm, but this is certainly the main farmyard in here, and where I am assuming is River Bottom Custom's family farm. Not confirmed, I don't know that, but I'm just assuming from the description on the map that that's where we start out. Taking a look now at field sizes, there's a huge variety of fields numbered right through down here to field number 73, 74, 75 is the number of fields. So huge number of variety, and as you can see, a huge variety in sizes. Field 42 here is the largest 70.58 hectares or 175 acres with a value of $1.417 million. So a pretty big sized field. Up the top here, I think field 21 is the smallest one I've found, 1.54 hectares, 3.89 acres, and a value of $31,472. So a huge variety in sizes, but a huge number through the middle there of that sort of 10 to 20 hectare or 25 to 50 acre fields. And if we just click on a couple here, 59, $214,000, 66, 67, both around that 220, 230,000. 55 in there is one of the 6 hectares, so again a little bit smaller, $125,000. But as you look across the map, there is a huge variety in sizes. So there's something there that would suit just about everyone. So as I said, there's a number of different sell points around the map. Just looking through the list here, we do have 6 different sell points listed. I do notice that we don't have a price there on the silos that are Area 21 corn dryer and the river bottom silos there. So I'm not sure whether those are just storage silos, whether they can actually sell. But most crops have a sell point. It's nothing I haven't seen that didn't until you start getting down into all the productions. Obviously, you could place your own down for that, but there is no sell points. Take a lot of the productions, and there is no productions on the map, or at least none that I have managed to locate at this stage. Now, taking a look at the crop calendar, there does seem to be some custom planting cycles there for wheat and barley and canola. You can see these are all getting planted in autumn and then being harvested through there in summer. So sort of a 12-month growing cycle just about for those. A lot of the other crops here are all planted in spring. You can see there a lot of harvesting in October, November is where the majority of it is done. So that is giving you a pretty good window of what you can and can't do. Obviously, we've got the premium expansion enabled, and you can see it does have the beets, carrots, and parsnip available as well. So like I said, we are going to go and take a look around the map now. We're going to start off here at the farmyard. This is where you spawn in when you first load the map, and this is the main farmyard that you own with all your equipment. Now, before we go anywhere forward, I'm just going to spin around the back here. We do have a shed over this way. We're just going to wander over and have a look, just looking in the map down the bottom. Now, I will keep the mini-map up so you can see where we are in relation to the main map. But let's just go and have a look in here. It looks like we've got a truck stored in here. Yes, you do. So you do start off with a Mack, and you've got a hopper bottom trailer there to start off with. But there is heaps of storage here on this farm, this starter farm. So as the description said, you do start off with a very well equipped and very nice little farmyard. We're going to have a look over here. We've got the main farmhouse. The other thing I've noticed as we go around, and I'll point this out, is a lot of things have been set up so you can delete them, demolish them, and create your own. So things like fences, pretty much every building I've come across when I've tried to demolish it has been removable. So there's a lot of scale to customize it, and that is also included in the description, is to start off a new farmer mode, because obviously being placeables, being put down, they are all there. There's nothing actually that's put in with giants, so that probably explains some of the reason why the map is so big. Nice farmhouse, again, interior detail, looks to be an Elk Mountain house to me. Come over this way, we've got a pickup and a garage there, so nice bit of storage space in here for, I don't know, farmers' toys, race cars, things like that, if you wanted to do some of that, lawnmowers, all of those kind of things. We'll go along and have a look. We've got a couple of triggers over there for some silos and some storage points for those. We've got the auger, cultivator, grain cart, and a fertilizer and lime spreader there. We'll just pop over and have a look at what we've got here. So a couple of dump points here. And you'll notice that there's a lot of great labels around for what you might want to do. So we've got feed, seed, and fertilizer from this shed. Go and have a look there. So very nice. A few triggers there to be able to get your feed, seed, and fertilizer that you might need. So you don't have to go all the way down to town to buy things. And then there's a couple more sheds here. So we've got this long one here on the right, which has a covered storage area, and behind the door is anything stored in there? No, and not a workshop or anything like that. There's no workshop trigger in that one. But carrying on, looking at the equipment, the Hardy sprayer, it's like a Massey Ferguson to me. Yep, starting off there with 8 Series Massey Ferguson, and then the Kinsey planter. So a nice setup there for running around planting. Fuel tank, diesel tank, got all that. It's a nice big one, nice bund around it actually. I quite like that from a environmental point of view. Case header, obviously no trailer or anything like that for that header. which leads me to believe we must find a case combine somewhere over here in this shed. Going through the door. Again, this is another one of my favourite sheds. This is a great shed. So just pop in through here and have a look. And we've got a couple of red pieces of equipment. The 340 Magnum and the 7150 combine with a corn header on the front as well. Looks to be a 8-row, so it's only a very small corn header. Might be something you want to upgrade, depending on which size fields you end up, but obviously this is only a small farm you do start off with. Come through the back here, and we do have our workshop trigger, so you can bring your equipment in there and maintain it as you need. We'll carry on, we'll go back out the door here. Lots of opening doors, things to look at, see if we can get out through there. Which brings us to the main silo complex here on the farm. Now this is a river bottom custom, and you can actually download this if you wanted to use this on another map. This is available on the Rich.io page to download as a placeable mod, but looks like we've got a couple of triggers there, and this is a production. So we'll pop in there, and where I did say we don't actually have productions, we do have a couple of grain dryers on here. So we're in this one, the river bottom AGI bin complex. You can see we've got the corn dryer, corn and propane in, and dried corn out. So no mods or anything needed for that, that is all built into the map. And then otherwise you've got your main storage there. So as it works on a number of others, it's 1 to 1 in, or 100 to 100 in, and lots of cycles a month. So basically you can take everything out as quickly as you can. There is another corn dryer on the map which we will go and take a look at, but this is quite a nice bin complex actually, I quite like that. Very nice. So that is a look there at the main farmyard. I don't think there's too much else to see or look at around here. We will just go and find the field that we own. I think it is just over behind the shed. And yes, field 51 here. So we've just walked down from by the truck, walked basically down the middle here, had a look at all the equipment. We've got this field out here. We'll just go and take a very quick look at that while we're here. And then we will jump up in the air, go for a bit of a fly around the map and take a look at some of the other points. Like I said, there's a few farmyards which are just a couple of grain bins and a farmhouse or something like that. So there's not actually much point in taking a detailed look at them, but it will be nice just to see the variety there is around there. So there you go. That is that's the field that is owned by the farm, 25 acres total with 25.02 acres of actual land area. So not a small field. Starts off with corn. I'm not sure if that is what is always in there, but that's what we've got here in this game save. So let's take ourselves up in the air and we'll go for a little bit of a tour around. So we're headed up here above the main farmyard. We're looking down to the south, to the southwest corner, and the trees there all along that side is the Missouri River. So that is the border of the map, that side, the stop bank and everything that limits the width of the map. Heading around to the north, heading up into that corner there, northwest is towards Nebraska, up into the corner of Missouri. And then if we come a little bit further around to the right is the main town area with a number of cell points right up there. That's in the sort of northeast corner of the map. Keep on swinging our way around here, kind of following the line of the train track there as we look across. And then you'll notice down there in the southeast corner, right in the distance, a few more silos. That's a few more cell points. There's another corn dryer over in that direction. And you can start to see some sheds in that in the distance, which are some of those small little farmyards that we will go and take a look at. So we're going to head out. We're going to sort of follow the road here. We're going to head down to the south and go and take a look at things down there. But it's just a good way to get an overview of the map, overview of all the different fields, the shape and sizes. A number of irregular fields, regular fields, a lot of different variety there across the map, which is nice to see. Something for everyone as far as I can tell. I don't think anyone would come in here and find a field they didn't like and didn't find interesting. Some fantastic variety. But we're just coming up here on the first of our little sort of miniature farmyards, I suppose, is probably a good way to describe them. So we'll go down on the ground, take a quick look around this one. So it is just situated on the edge of the road and very close to the fields. You can see the corn there, the grain bins, everything like that. Very, very close. So you can imagine you'd probably cause a little bit of strife with some of the locals trying to access these, but there we go, just a little shed here. Not a huge amount of storage, not a huge amount of space. You're not going to get any big equipment into that one, but we just head on across the road. We do have the other shed on this side. Go and take a look in there. Already got the door open. I'll poke our nose in, but a little bit more space for storage on this side. Got two doors and the person door down the other end that you can get in and out of. To me, these sort of yards feel a little bit almost abandoned. I think just with the way the grass is done, the way the fields have sort of come right up to the edge of them. So it's something if you wanted to start off a little bit more fresh than with the big farmyard, or perhaps you wanted to be able to farm a little bit further away and wanted to be able to store some of your equipment remotely. Might be that you just want to put a couple of augers in the shed for when you have these bins and are using them. So it's quite cool having all these little yards around. It kind of just adds a little bit of character to the map, and something I quite like. We'll carry on our way down south, heading along the road here, coming up on another one of these farmyards. Now this one we're not going to bother actually going down and looking at, but you can see there it does just have the single sort of shed and a farmhouse. Again, not much space around it if you wanted to build, but if you bought the field there that is around it, you could expand in there, put some bins or anything like that that you might want. Obviously I think I'm going to have a look at the other end of that shed. That shed's normally a drive-through one. It is. So you've got the door on the other end there, but sort of limited access. So some potential there if you wanted to come in and build your own farmyard. Like I said earlier, pretty much all of these items, buildings, everything is removable. You can demolish it and take it off the map. So if you did want to come down here, say you used the house but didn't like the way the shed was set up, you can go through and tweak things and get rid of those. Now one thing I have noticed and haven't touched on yet is you can see the pivot irrigator there, and we will just head on over and have a look at that. We're almost at the bottom of the map there. The road down the bottom heads along there. But these are, I think it was Hispano Modding released these on Mod Hub. These are the placeable pivots. So you do actually have a working pivot here set up in the field, and you'll notice, just if we look across that way, you can see another one there just in the distance in that dark green field. And there's a few of these scattered all around. So you can get in there and use these as pivots. This is one of the few farms or yards or fields that I've noticed that has a fence in it. And these are the ones you can go and demolish. So all of this is removable. If you didn't like the fence, if you kept on getting your combine header or something like that caught on it, it is removable and demolishable. So you can get rid of it. You might want to expand the field in either direction, so you can merge the fields too if you wanted to. So we're kind of at the bottom edge of the map. The trees over there, that is the bottom edge. No further. We head over towards the town, or the sell points down there. It's not really a town, but there's a collection of sell points. But before we do, we're going to go and take a look at this farmyard. Now this is probably the second most developed yard, sort of established, has sheds, bins, a house, silo there for silage clamp. So we'll go down and take a little bit of a closer look at this one. Just starting off with the house here, we've got the sleep trigger on the front porch. This one's not an accessible house, but you do have the sleep trigger there. Heading back out this way, like we saw from above, we do have a silage clamp there. No sign of any animals or anything like that, so you'd be able to place down animal pasture if you did want to have those, but quite a few bins on this one, a couple of different sizes. So the smaller ones here and a couple of bigger ones on the other side. Open-faced shed with the diesel tank there beside it, so a bit of storage space in here. There's a decent amount in here actually. Get a few pieces of equipment hidden in a way and protected from the elements. And then obviously over the road, got another one of these wonderful drive-through sheds, and it looks like a little bit of a lean-to off the back edge of it. So again, some decent storage space. We've used these. I think we had a shed like this on Chilliwack, and you can fit a lot into these. Sort of had equipment down both sides. You can drive through the centre, do whatever you like, but very good amount of space in this one. Just pop out the back, and we will just have a quick look around the side. Not a lean-to, it was just another shed. So again, more storage space for your equipment. So yeah, this is probably, from my tour so far, my exploring, this would be the second of the big farmyards on the map, and probably I think there is only this and the main one we looked at earlier. But we'll carry on, head on over down to the southeastern corner of the map and go and look at the different sell points that are down this way. So we'll get out here to one of the areas which does have a sealed road. Now, like I said, there is some traffic on the map. I haven't actually seen if it does come down this far, so we'll just keep an eye out and see if we see any traffic going past. Train tracks on the left there. We'll keep an eye out for the train too, because that is a custom train, or at least it is larger than the default ones. It has a number of different carriages, but selling and hauling your grain in. On the right there, just a farmhouse. So if you wanted to, I don't know, perhaps you set up your yard and demolish one of the houses on the other yard and you want to come down and live here a little bit closer to town. Who knows? Plenty of different options. There's a farmyard here, some sheds. There's a buy point for fuel as well. Swing around and have a little bit of a look at this one. Workshop trigger there in the shed. Now this is the same shed that we have on the yard, just different colour on the main yard. over this way. So this is actually, I guess, probably the third of the developed farmyards if I wanted to compare them. We've got the petrol tank there, diesel tank for your fuel, another open storage area there. And then we've got the Area 21 grain dryer. Now we saw that on the production menu. Let's go and have a look over here, see what we can spot. Two different doors here. Should be able to come in and open those up. And you've got your unload pits. So obviously you're going to be using bottom hopper trailers for that. There's no tipping trailers required in here. This one opened up. And there you go. You've got your tip point and fill point. So one side's tip, this side here, and then you've got your fill point coming down out of the silo there with that overhead bin drawing off the grain leg. And if we go and have a look, we should be able to find some controls around the other side here for the production point. Now I couldn't find the production trigger, but it is just here in front of the building. Press R and that will pop up there. Now around the back you've got the propane tanks, and there is a fill trigger around there for loading propane into those for your dryer. So everything's here, pretty accessible, pretty easy to get to. I quite actually like this drive through fill and empty pit area. That's quite cool. But no, again, another nice big drying complex. So like I said, you could argue that this is the third large farm. Now I did just catch a glimpse there of the train. Like I said, it is a decent length train. A little bit more realistic than what you see in the default game with the shorter sort of 4 carriage, but it does only have the grain trailers on it, grain carriages, grain carts, so you can only use it for that. Which brings us down here to what is the train sell point, and we're going to have a little bit of a closer look at this because there's a couple of things I just wanted to point out that River Bottom Custom had put in their description. So as you come down here, you can see there's a couple of signs on the side of the elevator here, Langdon's elevator. So you've got a sell option. You're driving in through here to sell your products. Then on this side here, you've actually got a silo storage. So you can use these as storage points. If you wanted to put your grain in here, you can dump it in through this and then load from the bin overhead. So you could lease the storage or have that there to store your product off site. Now you can use the trains for selling equipment or selling crops. Just come around here. There you go, you've got a load point there for the trains, and then down this way. I've already pressed R, it didn't pop up with the warning, but you can see we have rented the train. The train is going to arrive soon in 7.4 kilometers. So we're just going to return that, get rid of it because we don't actually need it to turn up. But there you go, you can rent the train, bring it here, fill it up with your crops out of the elevator, or like I said, you can choose to use the elevator as just a straight sell point. And that shows up here for your Wheat Langdon elevator where we are, $846, or Kansas City, which is the sell point for the train, about $100 more. So that is the difference between those two. Sell point there using the elevator or sell point using the train, all tied into the same sort of area, which is very nice. I like that. So we're going to leave this bottom corner of the map. We're going to head up along the road here, follow this up along beside the train tracks. Take a look at anything that we come across on our way up here. Very sparse in this area in terms of the yards or buildings or farmhouses or anything like that. We do have in here though, there is another silo, and I haven't actually managed to figure out what this one is, whether it is a sell point. It doesn't actually show up on any of the maps and any of the menus, so it could possibly just be a sort of standalone silo that you could own and use. So yeah, I haven't really figured that one out. Might be something to do a little bit more research on, but this is right on the edge of the map and it is there as well. We're just going across here. This is the largest field on the map, field number 42, 176 acres, or about 70 or so hectares. Now the train tracks there running up through between these, the road left the train tracks, sort of headed across here and then goes up in here between the fields. We'll carry our way on up here. This takes us all the way up into Phelps City, the town at the top. We've got just a standalone farmhouse there, nothing else with it, so we won't bother stopping and looking at that, but again, just one of those sort of sporadic farmhouses that I've mentioned a few times. And we'll carry on heading up here, and as you can see, the train tracks are coming back towards us. We're going to merge here as we get up into Phelps City. There's a lot to see up here, and we will take a little bit of an overview of it all, and then we will go in and take a little bit more of a detailed look. Now on the right here is the animal dealer. There is a sell point for straw and things like that, and then you've got a whole lot of your commodity purchasing. So there's a seed store, there's fertilizer purchasing, there's anhydrous purchasing. Obviously didn't mention anhydrous is a feature on the map, but that is there. So you've got all of those options there for purchasing. On the left there is a sell point, and then if we come down, the main shop, the main store for your equipment is up there next to the elevator for the trains. So you've got a fuel station over the road, a little few houses, but like I said, this is the store for purchasing your equipment. We've got another sell point there for the elevator for the trains, and then we'll come down this way and see that there is just one more smaller farmyard with a couple of Quonset sheds and 3 or 4 bins and a farmhouse. So again, another one of the smaller farmyards with just a couple of little areas for storage and a couple of silos as well. So first up to look here in town in Phelps City is the commodities area. Got some tanks over there on the right for anhydrous. A little building here on the left. There's a couple of fuel pumps there. I'm not sure if you can actually fuel up at that or whether it is just decorative. Obviously we did see there is a fuel station over the road. I am seeing a trigger there. There's blue on the mini-map, so I'm assuming you might actually be able to fuel up from that. And then heading around this way, we've got a auger here, probably for seed fertilizer. I'm going by the decal silos that it is going to be a seed store for that one. And then we've got the fertilizer tanks down here at the back. So I've got the fertilizer here, so this may be a dry fertilizer store. No, maybe just decorative. But you do have the tanks through, you can drive through around the back. There's a fill point there. Be able to top up your fertilizer and things like that. So nicely laid out, nice big area here. Nice to maneuver around with a big truck or anything like that if you're coming in to try and buy any of your commodities and get them ready for your planting, seeding time, fertilizing, all of that sort of thing. So we'll head out the back here and go and take a look at the animal dealer. It's coming down here to the animal dealer. Like I said, there's no placeable animal pens or anything that I've discovered on the map, but there is an ability to buy animals, because obviously you can put down your own animal pens if you wanted to. Licensed Loyal Livestock, the loading trigger there for your animals, buy and sell point with your trailer. Come around the front here, and we've got a trigger over here, a sell point for bales. So it's clearly identifiable there by the bales. There's your tip trigger, so if you're making straw or anything like that, bring that through here and sell it as well. Now just out the front here, this is another seed store. So while we had the seed that you could buy in that sort of commodities area, just jump across these fences or fly over these fences as the case may be. This is a seed store made by River Bottom Customs as well, so you can see we've got a trigger there to come through and buy your seed. So on the other side of town, we've got the suburban area here on the right, and then on the left here, in the road we're following in now, this is access into the Phelps City elevator, which is another big sell point. If you're coming around this way, you'll get around the back corner here, and we'll go across a weighbridge. So you've got a weighbridge on your way in, here in the shadow of the Phelps City water tower. Come through this way, you've got your display there, showing your weight. Then we'll carry on around the corner here, head around to the left, we've got our unload trigger. I'll get to that in just a second. There we go. Yeah, tip trigger there. That is your dump point for selling your product. And on the way out, we've got another weighbridge. So if you wanted to confirm the weight of your load, you can weigh yourself on the way in, and then you've got the weighbridge there on the way out. Another nicely detailed, nicely put together sell point. The train there. The train's on quite a regular cycle actually. It's quite fast to go through. I think it's the third time we've seen it while we've been down here. So the last couple of things to look at while we're in this part of town in Phelps City is to go and look at the big elevator that you can see there at the train sell point as well, and also the main store. So this is an elevator that requires probably a little bit more attention depending on what you're wanting to do with it. Good sign here, it says loaded trucks stay to the right, office, train rentals stay left, and watch for traffic. So if we come across to the left here, we've got another weighbridge. This trigger here will rent the train. So if you wanted to rent the train to sell your product, that is where you'd grab that from, and the train will come and stop here at the elevator. Now, we've got 3 options as you drive through here. This is similar to the train elevator down the bottom, but just a little bit of a different way to do it. So if you were selling your product, just wanted to straight sell it, that would be the way you go through there. If you wanted to store your product, drive through there and store it. And if you wanted to pull it out before you loaded it onto the train, let's say you were just using it as storage and wanted to sell it somewhere else, you'd come through there to load. So it's pretty clear. It is something you need to pay attention with, and you could find yourself selling when you're wanting to store, but it's well labelled on both sides. So regardless of which way you go in and out, you will be able to see that. Another way station there, weighbridge as well on that. So if you drove through and came right through, turned around and headed on the way out, you could weigh yourself on the other side. If we just head around the end here of the silos, you should be able to spot the loading and unloading point for the train. And there you go, you've got the tower there, covered overhead bin that the train loads into, drawing out of the elevator. So we've got a dump trigger as well as a loading point, so if you were transporting, you could even transport from one end to the other if you really wanted to. So that is the Phelps City elevator here, or the Phelps City train sell point. We'll just head out here to the main road. You can see the traffic here running across both directions. So from what I've seen, it seems there's only traffic on this road, which heads all the way down in that direction to the Missouri River, and behind us heads all the way to the edge of the map. But in here on the right is the main store for purchasing all your equipment. A few combines in that lying around the front, a couple of rather large case tractors down the end there as well. But we'll just go and head on over the front here. You can start to see our buy point for items is there on the left, and it looks like we've got a workshop trigger there on the right as well. So we'll go and just buy something, just take a look at where the equipment spawns. So we'll just take a lease on a big X9 combine, just to take a look at and see how much space there is for where that has spawned. And if we just spin it around, there it is right there in front of the main part of the store. So there's actually plenty of space here. I don't think you're going to get caught out. Some maps, depending on where that spawn point is, you might find it's very difficult to hook up to a trailer or pick up a header or something like that, particularly if you've got something a little bit longer, but that looks to me to be in quite a good spot. So yeah, lots of space around here. Just as we fly back up and have a look, plenty of space around. You could really simulate a dealership in here if you wanted to put down a whole lot of equipment, in addition to the static pieces which are already there. Just one last thing just to look at here, we've got a Casey's over the road, which is another fuel point as well, so you can pick up some fuel on your way through town. So we're going to leave Phelps City and head along this road, which takes you along the top edge of the map, the northern edge of the map, and heads along towards the Missouri River. Now we've got a few just little areas like that one down below us, which is a little bit of a track, but nothing in there. We've got a random farmhouse just there on the side of the road, but coming along the top here, you're starting to see some of the smaller fields of a little bit more variety in sizes, which seem to be the concentration of the smaller fields did seem to be here at the top, but there's not too much to see coming along here from a features point of view, but we will go all the way to the end here. This road just sort of peters out and heads away, the traffic just disappears, and you're at the edge of the road. You can come all the way down here though. There is a track that follows along the top of the flood protection bank, stop bank here, so you can access that, and that will take you down all the way to the bottom of the map as you follow the edge of the river. You can see the river there starting, and the area on the right hand side, which I mentioned earlier, which is inaccessible. We'll just head along this way and just take a look across a couple more areas here. Got another farmhouse sitting up here just in amongst the fields, and then across the right here, going down this way, we've got just a few sort of sheds. There's a bit of an abandoned barn just in here on the right. We have another shed here which has a couple of doors on it. You can store some equipment in, and then another small shed in there as well, nestled in amongst the trees. So a little bit more space, and you're starting to see a few more of the pivot irrigators as well that I mentioned earlier. And we'll just go a little bit higher because there's not too much more to see until we get back to the main farmyard here. We do have another little one in there on the right. You can see the farmhouse with just a single shed there, and that brings us all the way back to where we started off on the main farmyard. So there we go, that is my first look here at the Missouri River Bottom map, a 4X map by River Bottom Custom Farming, released for PC only through their itch.io page. Check out the link in the description below and go and grab it for yourself. What I have to say about it, I think it's a fantastic looking map for a first time map maker. It's a lot of attention to detail in some of the farmyards and the way the fields and everything are laid out. Always love a great story in a map where it has some relation to real life, obviously based on a real life area, and the fact it's based on River Bottom Custom Farming's family farm in the area that they grew up in. It's always a nice story to hear something like that when there's some reason behind why the map was created. I think it has a lot of playability on it. There's a lot of variety in field sizes, field shapes. There's a lot of variety in farmyards, so I think it could appeal to quite a number of people. Obviously, there's some real well thought out consideration given to the way all the buildings have been done. As I mentioned earlier, the file size is rather large, but it does give you the flexibility and ability to remove anything you don't want, delete things, right down to all the fences are done as placeables, so you can go through and delete all of those if you want to expand fields or just, make it your own. So I think that's been really well thought out, really well considered, as has all the sell points and the way the train system works and everything like that. So kudos River Bottom Custom Farming. I think you've done a fantastic job for a first map, and love to see, or look forward to seeing, what else you might come up with. So let me know if you're going to play it. Drop a comment down below and let me know what you think, if it's a map you could spend some time on, and what you might do. I'd be keen to hear what you're going to do on this one. So I hope you've enjoyed that one. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.